All right, good evening. Let's do a quick audio check. Let me know if everything is fine. Good to see you guys. Let's give it a minute. Let me do a quick shout out on the names that are with us today. What's up, JMO? What's up, Eshin? We got Denial. Holy with us today. Mikal, what's up, bro? We got Goku as well. Good evening, man. Good evening. 50 is looking like it's incoming. I mean, yeah, man. Can be. Good evening. What's up, Wonka? Good to see you, bro. Hey Dave, what's up, man? What's up, Baba? Good to see you, bro. Got Ahmed with us as well. Good evening, guys. Good evening. Good evening, good afternoon, depending on where you are. Let's see. Do we have everything with us today? Let me see. Are my annotations working? Yes, they are. All right. Let's pull up the Excel charts. Don't really need this side. So let me just crank it up like that. Let's make sure that we've got everything like this. GPOs, daily profiles, weekly profile, session profiles. All right. We're going back to the stream. Hello from France. Ça va? Ça va bien? I know only one word in French. I know je déteste le français. That's the thing that I like, that I know, kind of know about. It's from back in the day. I had friends at school. I really love the language, but I think it's extremely hard to pronounce everything. J'adore la France. What's up, Rocky? What's up, Hack T? I took 4 years in French in high school. I don't remember a single word. Yeah, I got the same, man. I love the language itself, though. I think it's one of the best languages there is. Just sounds really well. Chinese too hard for me, bro. Hello from Massachusetts. What's up, bro? What's up, Carlo? All right. So good to see everything. Good to see that we've got like a nice little pack with us today. I'm Dutch. I'm actually Dutch. So Netherlands, Amsterdam. So if I were to say, hey guys, what's up? Then I would say, goedenavond heren. Hoe gaat het ermee? So you can hear that it's a shit language. But, you know, I got some mates from Britain as well. Like, that's probably where I got the oi laddie, for fuck's sake, right? Let's come on then. That's probably where I got that from. I don't know. How's the new law? The law is not going through. Not yet. And if it is, then I might just need to... I'm a British Dutch man, that's for sure. Oi laddie. In it. Some big old titties. So yeah. Den Haag here, Tilindo. Nice. Okay. Enough chit chat. What's up, guys? So good to see you guys. Welcome back to another session on Bitcoin. As you know, we're going to be breaking things down using our daily review, where we're going to be talking about the long-term VWAPs, the yearly, quarterly, monthly, the weekly, rolling VWAPs, TPO. We're going to be summarizing everything. So at the end of the stream, you know exactly what we broke down and what we're going to be trading heading into this week. Then you'll see the typos here with the hypos. You know, we're going to be talking about the trade setups that we have for the upcoming week. And then I will have a line in the sand, like a bullish line in the sand. Where am I wrong on the bullish thesis? Where am I wrong on the bearish thesis? And so on. So it's going to be a really good stream as usual. There's lots to talk about where I think, you know, we're heading in on a higher time frame basis and why within 6 days, we've got like a really important event as well. So we're going to be talking everything down, breaking it down as well. And, you know, yeah, with that being said, let's start right off. Also for you, the newer guys, if you've noticed, like I have the partnerships, the affiliates that we have running throughout the streams at the top banner. You know, for those of you who are trading on Bybit, I do a 50% cashback on your fee. So if you're trading with Saj, you know how painful some of these fees can get on Bybit, you know, or any exchange for that matter. Now, if you do want to have something like that, you can always hit me up in DM and, you know, we're working something out. So yeah, with that being said, let's take a look. We're going to be starting off with the longer term VWAP section as always. Right here, for those of you who are new, we've got the yearly time frame, we've got the quarterly time frame, then we have the monthly time frame, and then we've got the weekly time frame. Not in candlesticks though, we've got the time frame set to VWAP, right? So this right here, if we were to put it on the bigger screen, we've got yearly VWAP. Now, yearly VWAP has a standard deviation 1. This is the VWAP from 2024. And then we've got standard deviation -1 from 2024 value. We call this the 2024 value, and we essentially use the same rules that we have within GPO, where we are treating this as a value area high. We're treating the VWAP as a point of control, and then we're treating the value area low, or the lower bands here, as the value area low right here, right? So the standard deviation -1. Why is this important? It's important because this is resistance, this is support. As long as we're trading above, if we accept below, this is becoming resistance, and at that point we're going to be targeting the value area low. So far, the 2024 VWAP has been capping downside, and I've been pretty vocal about this, where I'm like, you know, I will allow for a spike below, but if we're getting consecutive daily or H12 closes below the 2024 VWAP, I think Bitcoin is in a really tricky spot, where when that occurs and we try to break back above and we are unable to do so, it's bearish. And how weird as it might sound, when that occurs, I will be targeting 50K. But until that happens, let's just not focus too much on that. So let's say that we're getting something along these lines, where we sweep into these lows, reclaim that as support. That is considered to be a really good longing opportunity, where the lower time frame triggers will be shown in a bit. But I think this has to hold for upside, with the potential of trading back into this previous high, potentially this supply around the 75K region for me, where I think Bitcoin is going to be topping out. So let's move forward, right? So the yearly looks okay, as long as we maintain the 2024 VWAP as support. The quarterly is something that we are starting to use. We went over this within the past couple of streams, within the previous midweek review as well, where I said, you know what? We now have enough data to work with developing quarterly value. So far, developing quarterly value low is capping upside. This was a failed auction back within value, bearish, another retest, right? So far, we're not really able to accept back within on strength, which is kind of worrisome to me, because we're coming off the 2024 VWAP, but we can't really break away from it. So that's weak in my opinion. I would have preferred to see this, where we swept this previous low. Then we got like the structure break here. This should have been support for continuation higher back into these highs to fill in this single print there, you know, back into this consolidation here, kind of confluent with the developing quarterly VWAP. Like, that would be an optimal trade. This right here is giving me compression at the VWAP vibes, where if I were to treat this as a bouncing ball, right? Bitcoin bounces into support, goes back up, right? That's what we have right here. Then it comes back down into support, goes back up. Not as far as this previous high, right? We were making marginally lower highs, bounces back into support, goes back up, not as high again. So this is giving me the vibe that we're running out of momentum, and eventually what happens is that we're breaking through, right? That's what compression at the value low means, or compression at the 2024 VWAP. So if there's going to be a bullish segment heading into this week, I think a spike below and then an immediate reclaim would do the trick, where I want to see a large amount of shorts getting offside during the spike lower. And then I think, you know, we need to see that continuation higher, because whenever Bitcoin forms a higher time frame low, we're often getting like a structure like this. We sweep the low, then we break structure on the higher time frames, and then we're getting these shallow retracements like that, continuation higher, shallow retracement, continuation higher. Whenever Bitcoin is bullish on the higher time frames, not, you know, at this point, everybody and their moms getting, you know, are allowed to get access to potential long for a move higher. That is why I think that we need to be flushing out some late longs first, and then we can potentially see some upside. This is not really it, in my opinion, so far. There's going to be an invalidation for that thesis, but so far it's not looking too strong, in my opinion. Moving towards the monthly, this is arguably going to be the most important time frame within 6 weeks. Within 6 days, my bad, 6 weeks, gosh. Why is that? It's because within 6 days, we will have new previous month value, meaning this value area will be extended throughout time. Depending on where Bitcoin is trading during that time, if we're trading down here, the range is from previous month VWAP towards previous month value area low, meaning if we're getting rejections at the VWAP, we can look for shorts back into the value area low. Meaning if we get rejections at the value low, we can look for longs back into VWAP, right? If we're trading above, we can look for continuation. Let me just outline that once again. So let's say that within 6 days, Bitcoin actually decided to go up, right? Which is a site that we don't get to see a whole lot these days. But let's say that we're trading up here. At that point, this is our bullish invalidation, because if we're trading back below VWAP, it means that this whole move upwards is a filled auction above previous month VWAP, at which we can target the value low. Conversely, if we try to break below VWAP and we hold a support, we see initiation by the buyers. We see, just the regular structural breaks like this, where we sweep a low, we have a structure break, then this has to hold a support. We didn't do it right here, obviously. But if we get a structure like that at the previous month VWAP, we can start targeting for upside back into the value high, which is again roughly around that 75k region. So I think within 6 days we will have new previous month value. That's going to be super important. If we're trading from the underside and we reject at the VWAP here, where we take out this high, then have a structure break, I think we can look for shorts back for a move into the lows. Okay, so it's going to be super pivotal heading into the upcoming week. If we're taking a quick peek here at the weekly values, arguably super messy, where we're just chopping like this. Rejection at the value high was super clean, right? Where we accepted back within, reject it, boom, sliced lower, retested this right there, that bearish breaker, continuation lower into the value low. We then got acceptance back below the value low. This should have held as resistance. Why didn't this cap upside right here? Initially it did, but why did we form a low? This is where we are going to be treating multiple time frames, where we're going to be using them in confluence with each other, because there was a 2024 VWAP down here. Yes, we're accepting below with a beautiful example of time and space here, right? We take out a high into previous week value low. We've got the structure break for a short lower, right, on the candle close, invalidation above the high. However, we're shorting into yearly support. So in this case, this is always what I want you guys to be aware of. So in terms of composites, right, if this is the bigger profile where we got like 16 days of overlapping value, and within those 16 days, we've got like a smaller composite, 3 days, right? When we break away from the 3-day composite value area low, should you be bearish when the higher time frame is saying this is big ass support? You don't really want to be shorting this, right, for a move lower. You want to be looking for potential long with anticipation that this is a failed auction below the recent structure, because a 3-day composite is not as important as a 16-day composite. Same story goes for a weekly value, isn't as important as a yearly, in this case 2024 VWAP, right? So if we keep that in mind and we take a quick peek at this chart, yes, we accepted below the previous week value low, which is now slightly lower because I'm rocking the new values already. But let me just show you guys. Keep in mind, 2024 VWAP is here, okay? Let's get rid of these. Let's show you the weekly values right here. So, yes, we've accepted below the previous week value low here, right there, right into supply. We got the sweep, we got the bearish structure break, everything lines up for a short, right? However, higher time frame support. So instead of looking for shorts here, you could, for an intraday trade back into the 2024 VWAP, instead what you should have been looking for was the inverse. We sweep the low. Once we close above that opposing candle, long, stop, we target previous week VWAP. I wasn't behind the desk at the time, but this is a preferred trade, right? If you take into consideration that this is a weekly value and that we have the yearly structures here. Okay, so I just wanted to point that out because it's really important. I saw a lot of posts on Twitter about it, but just be mindful that the weekly value isn't as important as yearly value in this case. So, whole lot of yapping. Let's go back to the review and write it out. Also, if you have questions regarding what I've just covered, let me know and I'll do my best to answer all of the questions at the end of the stream. 2024 VWAP. Capping downside. For now, all right, for now. Developing quarterly value low is capping upside. The monthly, rotational within developing month value. New previous month value soon. Going to be important. Developing quarterly, developing month, yeah, okay. Weekly, we are rotational within developing week value, which will be reset chart view, tomorrow we will have new previous week value, meaning new previous week value area low, new previous week VWAP, new previous week value area high. Kind of confluent with the last week, previous week VWAP as well. But this will be the new weekly value. So far, we are rotational. If tomorrow we open up within value like that, this is short-term support, that's short-term resistance. If we accept above VWAP tomorrow, this is short-term support, this is short-term resistance, okay? So we're just gonna be treating this as a range. Whoops, like this. Let me just show you. So this is going to be a range. And then, do I have green? Yes, this is gonna be a range, right? And then depending on where we are trading, if we're trading in the green box, I'm treating this as support, that as resistance, just trying to get the rotations in. If we then accept above, I'm treating the red area as my areas of interest, support, resistance, okay? Does that make sense? Then if we're breaking away from value, we go with that break. We break away from value, we go with that break, right? Right. Rotation in developing week value, rolling VWAPs. Do we have confluence with the values that we've just outlined in terms of the rolling VWAPs? Let me just show you. Let's go rid of these. In this case, there is some confluence here with the 7-day rolling VWAP. However, I do want to point something out. This 7-day rolling VWAP, by the way, I'm going to go over the naked component control in a bit as well. Don't worry. This 7-day rolling VWAP, whilst in a trending environment, is good. We also need to account that if we go from a trend towards a range, the 7-day is the first one to lose its strength because we're just going to be chopping through it, right? At that point, my focus moves towards the 30-day rolling VWAP. Is there any confluence up here with the 30-day rolling VWAP? I would say there's one, which is it is starting to overlap with the 3-week value high. I think if we're going to be here until the monthly close, this 30 rolling VWAP will be confluent with the 3-week value high, which makes a good case for either the best short for the upcoming month for a move back into the lows, or the continuation higher once we break back above the 30-day rolling VWAP for that move higher into the 75K region. Besides that, the 90 days too far away. The yearly is all the way up here, so I don't really have an interest for that heading into this week. Maybe if they start overlapping more with other values. Until then, I'm just going to be putting my focus on the 30-day rolling VWAP. So let's write that out. 7-day, not using this. 30-day, catching up with 3-week value high. Not using that. Not using this either. Which brings me towards TPO. Let's open up extra charts. So in this case, we have got, let me get rid of the crosses real quick. We have got the composites in the top left corner. We have got weekly profiles here. We've got session profiles here. And then within this chart, we've got daily profiles. Essentially the same right here. But as you guys know, I tend to have two layouts. One layout where I can see the composites, and then one layout where I'm able to see all of the anomalies for the intraday sessions, right? For the daily sessions and stuff like naked value area low right here, which is now disappeared here due to the composite, okay? So that's just what I want. If we break this down, I think arguably the most important development here is if we take a look at this chart, what we see here is that we have 3 weeks of overlapping value. We've got this weekly value within the previous week. Let's merge that. We're getting a 2-week composite. Then we have a new weekly, which is going to be closing within a couple of hours. And I'm going to be assuming that that weekly value is going to be within the previous 2 weeks. So right click, merge. 3-week composite, meaning we are rotational on the higher time frame around the key contextual level, which is the 2024 VWAP down here. Or I think it's here somewhere. But doesn't matter. Let's just do it like that. 2024 VWAP, but we are rotational within this weekly value. For reference, the previous time when we broke away from value, stop merge, right here. We had a fake out here. Then we accepted back within value. And then the moment we broke away from that multi-week composite is when we got this entire move lower, right? So this just goes to show how important these weekly composites are. If we're trading above 71.4, I think 75K is going to be the real first area of interest, but we'll have to see how high this can go, right? But until that happens, this is my higher time frame bearish invalidation. Conversely, the 3-week value area low is my higher time frame bullish invalidation, meaning I will allow for a wick down, but I need to see an H12 close at least above that value, you know, for me to be like, okay, you know what? Sellers had their shot. They really tried to send this lower. They failed to cap it there, right? We're now trading back above the value low. I'm going to be looking for longs for a potential move higher. Until that happens, I'll be trying to play the rotations within value, okay? So very important to take into consideration this 3-week composite. If we're taking a look at the regular composites, it's a bit of a match where I'm like, you know, it's a bit, it's iffy because we're forming composite after composite after composite after composite, right? Because a 3-day, let me reset this so we can make these composites together. Reset, reset. All right, let's build this out into a composite chart. First thing that I'm looking for is overlapping value. So one of the laws is that whenever we've got like the overall picture where we don't initially have a quality value overlap like we have with these two profiles, if the overall picture is telling me that, hey, you know what, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 days where the market doesn't really go anywhere, even though where the initial 2 days don't really have a value overlap, I'm going to be merging these together as a composite to see, does it look good? Start merge, stop merge. 4-day composite looks really good, right? So that's one. Then the second one, 1, 2, 3. 3 days of overlapping value, 3-day composite. Start merge, stop merge. Now you might ask, let me just show you. So this is a composite as well, right? Let's do it like that. And then let's get rid of this drawing here. No, but let's just keep it like that. Then we go up, another 2-day of overlapping value. Merge with the previous TPO. 2-day composite. I'm not adding these into the values because it's a weekend, so it's not really relevant to me. Then we start to trade lower, 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 lower. And now again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days of overlapping value. Start merge, stop merge. Wait, let's make sure that I've got the right profile. Stop merge. This gives us a 5-day composite. This is the reason why I removed this initial 3-day composite, because one, this one is more recent, so it's more relevant to me, right? More important. And number two, this one is 5 days compared to a 3-day. So at that point, I want to maintain a clean chart. I want to be focusing on recent structures, stronger structures. So I'm going to be going out with the old, right? And in with the new. If I really want to focus on the older value, what I can do is I can maybe add a line here, right? So I am aware of the older 3-day composite, but in my opinion, it's not really needed. So I'll be just going with this recent 5-day. Why is it messy? It's messy because if we're breaking above this 5-day composite, we're running into an older composite very low. So we can't really be looking for longs there, right? If we break down from this composite, we're running into this older composite very low, which is also not something that I want to be doing like that, right? Where I'm like, you know what? Fuck. I want to short this, but now we're reaching into this older composite very low. What should I do? Whenever this happens, where I do not have a clear read based on TPO, this is why I think is important. I tend to switch towards VWAP more, where I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm going to be annotating and everything. I want to be aware of the higher time frame structure, which is this 3-week value. I want to be aware of the anomalies, this naked point of control there. And then we have also a naked point of control up here, because I think it doesn't matter which one Bitcoin takes first, the other one will follow. So I think I'm of the impression where if we sweep the naked point of control, we have a shot at taking out this one. If we take out that one and we leave this one, we're going to be going back down, right? So whenever the composite profiles for TPO aren't as clean as I like, I'm switching my focus towards the higher time frame and the anomalies in combination with VWAP, okay? So let's write everything down and then annotate it on the chart to see what we're looking at heading into this week. Let's go back to this. TPO. What do we have? We formed a 3-week value. What else? We are rotational within 5-day composite value area, which is the recent one. Then we have a naked point of control at 64,838. And then we have a naked point of control at 73,483. 73,483. All right. Another anomaly that we have that I didn't really show is this poor high here. We've got a poor high on February 15. I think that's going to be drawn liquidity. So poor highs, February 15. All right. So to summarize everything, Bitcoin has been rotational for the past 3 weeks, as shown by the bigger composite, while the 2024 VWAP is capping downside. In my opinion, it is starting to get, I'm gonna be writing this wrong, worrisome, something like that. Worrisome that we're not able to break away from it and trade higher into the monthly close. With the monthly close coming up within 6 days, I expect the upcoming previous month value to become pivotal for the next bigger trades dash moves, where I will treat the previous month value low as high time frame support and previous month value high as high time frame resistance. Right. That brings me towards the narrative. As I've said, whenever shit's not looking as clean as I wanted to, I'm going to be focusing on TPO, right? I'm going to be focusing more towards the higher time frame levels, the higher time frame values on TPO. In this case, that's the 3-week value high and the 3-week value low. If we move towards an H2 chart, let me just check right here. So Bitcoin is pinched between this resistance and that as support, right? I think we can all agree on that. Everything in the middle is trading around the point of control, which is the main reason why this is choppy as fuck down here, right? Heading into next week or heading into the following 2 weeks, I think the A+ trades here on Bitcoin are gonna be either to fade the extremes of value where we are failing to break below. In this case, let's say that we clean up the naked point of control, take out these lows here, then reclaim the 3-week value low. At that point, I will be looking for longs with a main target of the 3-week value high. If that doesn't happen and we trade up, right? Let's say we trade up, right? From a higher time frame point of view, we take out the highs into the 30-day rolling VWAP, breaking structure back within the 3-week composite. I will treat this similar to how I would treat these, right? As I fill break from value, at which I'll be looking for shorts for a move back into the lows. These are the mean reversion trades. Now, if Bitcoin decides to break below, then it's like, you know what, we need to be breaking back up, and then boom, we get slammed back down. I'm considering this as a break away from value, and I'll be looking to short the 3-week value low for a move lower into the naked point of control, previous 10 deviation tree, and then potentially even way lower, right, into this low right here, potentially 50k, who knows? Because I want to be on that side of the trade where we're breaking away from value. Conversely, the bullish hard time frame case would be acceptance above the 3-week value for a move back up into the previous year, not previous day, I'm retarded. Previous year standard deviation 2 at 75k. Are we going to be waiting for these to set up? So let's say that the entire week nothing happens. Isn't there anything else to trade for me? Yes, there is actually. If we take previous week value into account, we can see one thing really clear. And that is that the upcoming previous week value high is going to be super important. Mainly due to the fact that how it has been trading with these previous interactions here, right? I would argue that it is super clean, right? We got the sweep. Then we get a close back below. Picture perfect retest. Wasn't here to trade it, but you know, we got that break lower. So I think as long as this holds this resistance, we can expect this to rotate lower, maybe something like that, or who knows. But at that point, the value low is in play. Am I going to be interested in shorting below the previous week value low? No, personally, I'm not, because of the fact that we've got the 3-week value low there and the 2024 VWAP here. So when we do break below, I am going to be looking for longs there with anticipation that this is going to be a deviation from previous week value. Confirmation that I'm on the right side of the trade is here, where I think we're going to go back up. If Bitcoin decides to accept above the previous week value high without taking any lows, I will also be looking for longs, right? Where I'm like, okay, if it can show me that we break above previous week value, that's bullish. especially after we saw how it treated it as resistance here, I'll be looking for longs on a continuation play for a move back up into the 3-week value high. So to summarize what I've just said, I'm not going to be writing it out. I'm just going to be showing you guys. Heading into this week, my higher time frame trades are based on the 3-week value low and the 3-week value high. If Bitcoin fails to break below the 3-week value high and then reclaims it, I'll be looking for a longer term long for a move back into the 3-week value high there. Conversely, if we leave all of these lows intact and we trade all the way up into the 3-week, reject the 30-day rolling VWAP that we have here, then get back in the range, I'm shorting this for a move back down into that 3-week value low. Okay, so I'm just going to be trying to trade the higher time frame rotations within this bigger 3-week composite. Short-term trades for me are going to be based around the previous week value high, where any failed attempt above the previous week value high that gets slammed back down is a short for me for a move back into the value low and then potentially the naked point of control here. Conversely, if we accept above, try to break back down, and then we reclaim a previous high after taking out a low, basically something like this, right? Where we take out a low, structure break above, right? If I'm getting structure like that, but up here, I will be going with that break away from the previous week value with a potential destination of the three-week value high in mind, okay? Meaning, what is my bullish and what is my bearish invalidation? My bullish invalidation is the 3-week value low longer term, short term, previous week value low, right? Does that mean that I'll be looking for shorts there? No, but considering that we need to have a short term and a longer term invalidation, I would say the previous week value low is going to be my short term. The short term bearish invalidation is going to be the previous week value high, where if we accept above, I think we're getting a rally upwards. My higher time frame bearish invalidation is going to be the 3-week value high, right? Where I think if there's going to be a cap on upside, considering this recent 3 weeks of consolidation, probably going to be here. Acceptance above, and we're going to go way higher than that, all right? Is that clear for everybody with us today? We've now broken everything down based on VWAP, TPO, price action, rolling VWAP. We've summarized it all. We've given it our prep and the hypos. Are we all on the same page in terms of what we're trading next week for Bitcoin? Obviously, things can change, right? Where I'll be updating midweek review once a week. But as the data points stand out to me right now, this is what I am mainly going to be trading heading into the upcoming week. Any questions so far? What do you think about this compressed weekly VWAP values from this week? So if you want to, you can even, start to merge all of these VWAP values together as well. I'm just going to be going with the TPO values for me, because I want to keep it a bit, just straightforward, not too many values on the chart. Otherwise, I kind of lose track of everything. Okay. If there are no more further questions, leave me a like on today's stream. Helps a lot growing the channel. And I will see you guys during the midweek review. For the guys within Discord, I will see you guys tomorrow morning. It's good to be back. And, much love to everybody. See you guys in the next one. Yeah, take care.